right, we're going to get right into this. Overwatch 2. Big fans of Overwatch, not a big fan of Blizzard. So...
You are a big fan of Overwatch. I'm not anymore. I've fallen out of love with Overwatch.
I know you have. Nobody wants to play with me anymore because everybody sucks on Overwatch and they either don't do what they're supposed to do or they're toxic and nobody likes to play with me. But that's okay. Welcome everybody to the next episode of Nerding Out. We are going to be talking about Overwatch today and the shitstorm that is about to happen, more than likely. So, as everyone knows, Overwatch 2 has been in development, or those of you may not know, I don't know, who listens to Blizzard anymore?
Everybody knows Overwatch 2 has been about to be released.
Yes. So October 4th is when it's going to be coming out, and they're going to be having the Junkenstein, which is like the biggest event starting on October 24th. Yeah, for the very first event for Overwatch 2, and they're apparently going to have a Revenge of the Bride coming out for that, which looks like it's going to be a Sombra thing.
That was, though, the first event in Overwatch 1.
Yes.
Because, Overwatch was released for about...
Came out in May 2015.
It was 4 months. It was October when Junkenstein came out, or very end of September. I'm not
Halloween.
sure. But it was about 4 months before we had any new content. So the game dropped. Nothing happened for 4 months. And even then, it was a good event. It was fun. We still love playing it.
That's great.
It honestly wasn't that big because it didn't stay. Nothing from that event stayed after October.
Yeah.
But then they started getting into the winter events and everything. So it did get to be more interesting. But that was the first big event, and it's coming to Overwatch 2 for when it releases.
Which I think is a very smart thing for them to do, because everybody seems to enjoy Junkenstein's Revenge the most on Overwatch. So you already have all this controversy and stuff that's attached to it. Why not give the fans something that they want and will enjoy at the very beginning?
Yeah, they're trying to win everybody back at this point. But I think that Junkenstein's going to be a big hit for Overwatch 2. Just for the number one fact is, Overwatch 2 is completely free to play. There's going to be a lot of new people, a lot of new players. It's going to introduce a much more complicated element, which free-to-play games have, is a very toxic player base that is very hard to control because you can just make a new account. And unless you do an IP ban, it's almost impossible to stop that. But even if you do an IP ban, there's sometimes ways around that. So we'll see how much harder it is for the team at Blizzard to keep everything clean and enjoyable, because I have a highly doubt it's going to be that case because they don't have much money to be spending on Overwatch right now.
They don't have a lot of anything right now to be going around with all the controversy that was the assessment and everything. I
gotta say they got plenty of going around.
Oh, they've got plenty of harassment, the Cosby Suite and all that jazz. Beautiful. But I was extremely excited for Overwatch 2 when it first was announced because we would get more characters. There was going to be the whole, instead of having 6 players on a team, you now have 5 players on a team. You've lost 1 tank on your team. There were some characters that have been changed into a tank. So Doomfist in particular is now an actual tank instead of damage. Thank God. But, then all of the stuff happened with Blizzard. And all this
Get the payload
cases and how they treat their employees and things like that. And then it really made me fall off to Blizzard, which used to be one of my favorite companies. I loved Diablo. I loved World of Warcraft. Overwatch when it first came out. I played that constantly. It's that's one of the games, and I think that might be the only game where I have way more time than you on something, because I played over 900 hours of Overwatch. So
No, that's a problem. If you look in the stats on Overwatch, it shows you only played 900 hours together. But I can guarantee you, for the 2 years straight that we played that game, where we put about anywhere from 1 to 5 hours every pretty much 6 days a week, maybe 7 days a week, I know there's more than 900 hours. So, and that was just for the first couple years.
Yeah.
I think that they calculate things weird. They literally only count the time that you're playing your character. So respawn times don't count, loading times, lobby times, everything. You've dedicated probably triple that amount to that game.
I don't want to talk about that.
and the free arcade stuff, like the the fan-made
custom stuff. Yeah.
stuff, that doesn't count. So
Oh yeah, if you see a Lucio inside one of those chill or kill plays, that's just kind of hanging out with his equipment and dancing, and you have like the little frog symbol in the back, I try and put myself in a lighted area and let you all enjoy your concert. So that's me. Hi, how's it going? Ambino is my name on there, so come at me because I'm probably a better Junkrat than you. Anywho, for Overwatch 1, of course, that's where all the controversy started and everything, like probably about a year ago now, where it really started.
No, it originally emerged. Honestly, I think it was around time of COVID. I think people were cooped up in their houses. They got on the internet more. They got to just looking at researching at stuff. And I think finally information came out around mid 2020 or like probably almost right about 2 years right now. As I think when stuff started coming out and gained traction, because it's been a little while now, because Bobby Kotick's been in well over a year since it even happened, the controversy.
Yeah.
Because this has been around 2 years. But no, I mean, the what happened much longer ago. I forget exactly what year, but like.
Oh yeah, I mean like the Cosby Suite and all that stuff, like all the pictures and everything that they've shown for all of that happened like years ago, back when the other guy was in charge and everything, and when he was put in charge, he had a fire to put out, and it just kind of went under the rug. But it's been happening like 2 CEOs ago. So this has been happening for quite a while, and I hate that this has happened, because like I love Overwatch and I loved the characters. I thought they were great. I loved playing it. Yeah, there's toxic people in every single game, so it really didn't bother me too much, except for the fact that I had to change my decade plus long time name on Overwatch for Blizzard or Battle.net. In order to stop getting people to tell me to shut up and make me a sandwich because I'm a female player. So that messed up a lot for me. I really liked that name, and I had a lot of good times on that name, but I did have to change it on Overwatch because there was just too much toxicity. But past that, I loved that game. I loved playing it. I loved all the custom stuff.
There was a lot of things before that past that.
Yeah.
So, surprised you still love that game.
It's very true. There's a lot of stuff that's gone down, but like I did enjoy playing it, and then all of the stuff came out for Blizzard in general, and it's like, all right, well, all the World of Warcraft that I had, even though it's an empty guild, I do have a guild on World of Warcraft. And like Diablo, I played Diablo 3 so much, like at the very beginning of its time, and then when you and I finally got together, like started playing, they had gotten rid of the auction house at that point, and all sorts of stuff had changed. But I mean, like we just started playing that one again because it's just fun to play. But like,
and I was big into World of Warcraft, very much so. I liked playing World of Warcraft, but I went to the Ascension WoW. It's a free server. You can support them if you wanted, type thing, but you literally don't pay a dime for it. It is a little jank, a little laggy. It's got some other weird quirks about it, but in all, it's kind of a little bit better. They've added some stuff to it, and it's mainly for the fact that I don't want to give Blizzard any more money, especially until Bobby Kotick's out. Even then, I know he is not the problem. He is keeping it going by not admitting the problems and not fixing them a lot or sooner, stuff like that. But I know Blizzard's got other issues besides just that.
Well, my biggest issue with him is that they did have a female that was kind of like the head of, I don't think it was HR, but it was some sort of like department like that in there.
It wasn't necessarily anything over like people, like the people necessarily. It was just because she was a strong female CEO.
Well, no.
He used her.
She wasn't even a CEO, but she was something in there that was
She was
like,
right below him. Whatever that
maybe.
is.
I don't remember exactly what she was. But either way, like they chose her to kind of put out this apology letter to everyone in the company and everything, saying like, I've only been here for...
That's the thing. She didn't put it out.
No.
They
That's
used
what
her
I'm getting
email
to.
address.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting to.
She didn't even write it.
She posted this thing that was like, "Hey guys, I've only been here for a month, but this is a great place to work. Blah blah blah. I personally have never gone through what everyone is talking about, but I really think that this is a great place to work." And then about another month later, she was like, "I feel like my place is somewhere else in the company, so I will be leaving this department and going somewhere else." And then it took a little bit of time afterwards, but then she finally announced, I guess when
she left Blizzard.
Yeah, and like a few months had passed, she was like, "Hey, actually, I did not write what I posted on there." And the big thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning of that was that even Kochek had everyone was like, "That was really bad tasting," and all that, like the way that you wrote it. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know why you would post something like that. I would have never approved anything like that to have been posted." And she was like, "Hey, guess what? He actually wrote that and told me as a female to post that because it would look better coming from a woman." And then when everyone started to bash what had been wrote, he was like, "Oh yeah, you're terrible. Why would you write that?" Because he didn't want to get the backlash so that he had wrote a terrible thing.
He didn't 100% write it. He had a team do that, but he was the one that told the team to do that and also said to that, I forget her name, but told her, "Hey, put your name on this. Sincerely, whatever her name is, use your email address to send this out to the company, and you're going to be the face of this." And I don't think she even talked much about how that happened. Was it like a lengthy meeting, or was it just pretty much him just saying, "Hey, do this"?
Yeah, he sent something to her and said, "I want you to post this because you are a female of higher standards in here, and I think it would look much better coming from you than it would any of us."
He was just using her position as a higher up female in the company
who was new.
It wasn't even necessarily new. It's just because she was the highest in the company that was female at that time, that he could use her position of power to kind of subdue or put out the fires because, if it's a girl saying it, it wouldn't be so bad because that must mean she understands.
Clearly, she's a woman in this in particular company as well, and if she says that it's not that bad, then surely it can't be as bad as all the other employees are saying it is. No, it was that bad, and she commented that later.
But that's the thing, all these things, well, there's plenty more. We're just not touching on it because it could be a whole hour-long episode.
It could be a whole nother episode of that.
Right, but the thing is, it can make your blood boil and it can make you upset. And thinking about this is what happened and this is what they facilitated, that's why I still hate that he's still in office. It's been about a year since that happened, I think. But you might think to yourself, it's not as bad as it was. Blizzard's gotten better. They've done some things. No, they're the exact same that they were. There's been a few people that have moved and changed positions. Some of the old developers and writers and artists have left the company to create another company recently, but it's still the same Blizzard, still the same head of the company. That's why I do not like it. And just because time has passed doesn't mean that anything's better or that it was, forgotten or whatever. So I don't want to support them. I will be testing out Overwatch 2. I won't be spending a dime on it, but I will not be playing within the first week. So the reason why that is, they will look at big numbers in the first days of release, specifically in the first week. And I know I'm one person. I'm not going to make a big difference, but it's my little thing I can do is to, poke at them and to say, I'm not playing your first week. I haven't been playing Overwatch for quite a while, but
I haven't either, but I will try my best.
I know. The whole point is they will see when you log on. That will count the number saying, hey, this many people played Overwatch in its release week. And that will tell them what's going to happen.
To be honest, I probably won't even get on it until October 24th, whenever Junkenstein starts. And that's going to be a good 2 or 3 weeks after it originally came out. So I will be a part of that as well. But
yeah, that just because if it's a free-to-play model, the only way you can speak to the company and say you're upset with their product is just not playing it. There's no other way. I mean, you can obviously not spend money on the loot boxes or whatever. I think the season pass is what they're going to go to. You can not spend money on that. That's great. But if you are counted among the number of people, because that's what the company will use for investors, is to say, hey, look, there was 200 million people that logged on in the first week of or even month of this game. When that number is nowhere near 200 million, maybe 10 million, which is really bad for a big AAA game release that's all multiplayer based, they might be like, what do we do? So
Yeah. It's like here's my take on it, because again, I love Overwatch. I don't care like about me personally on that game. Like it is what it is. As a female gamer on there, like you're gonna go through that stuff no matter what game it is. And I mean, like Call of Duty, Halo, all that stuff, you're gonna get it. But I have very conflicting sides of here, because on one hand, I absolutely despise Blizzard for what they have done, how they've tried to cover it up, and for what all those people, not just the women included, but there were some men that like wanted to step up and stand up for those people, and they got stepped on. So there are it's on all sides of the coin here, but like the way that they treated their employees, the way that they treated the whole situation and things like that, I think it's absolute garbage, and I would never spend another dime. I'm never going to do another thing of World of Warcraft. I'm not going to pay monthly for that. I really don't care about Diablo 4 too much, because like I said, I played way too much of 3.
there's ways of pirating codes for free. So
We're not condoning that, sir.
well, for maybe that company.
Yeah, well, maybe no. But on the other hand, you do have someone like people like we are content creators. I draw on the side. I tried to do web comics for a while there. I'm trying to get better and do more web comics on the side. But for those of us that are content creators, you know how hard it is in the industry for those people, and people who are creating these characters, people who are doing the graphics designs or doing the landscaping, doing all of the work in the background. I feel really bad for them, because they are putting their heart and soul into these characters and into this world, and it's getting shit on because the company that they're working for is garbage. And some people, you know, they say, well, just go and work for a different company. You can go work for Riot. You can go work for, you know, Microsoft, 323 Studios or something like that. It's not that simple. If you have a job, you are comfortable in this job, you've been there for years, you don't want to just get up and start over again in a different company.
Yeah.
So for those
Some people can't even afford it.
Exactly.
And I think it really stinks, but at the same time, because there's other companies, Blizzard is not the worst company out there in the world. There are plenty of companies that have done. Oh, I'm not talking about video games.
EA.
In the world of business, there have been many worse things done in the past, and many companies that are still doing it or have gotten away with terrible things. So that exists. So it's hard to start saying, like, I'm going to put my stake in the sand here. But as a nerd and as a passionate person, especially about Blizzard, because that was, you know, hers as well, one of her favorite companies. It was one of mine as well. It's something that's more personal to me that I can afford to take a stand on. It's just entertainment. I can go without playing any Blizzard games. You know, you can think of like Apple or Samsung or any of these, Google, any of these big companies. They're like, they've got some really dark corners in their building. And you might say, well, I'm not going to do that. Well, unfortunately, in that case, it starts costing me money, and it starts to be a balance between what's good for my lifestyle, what's good for the amount of money. Like, I don't like spending a lot of money on phones. I have a couple times and I regretted it, but sometimes when it goes to what actually is, you know, needed nowadays, you realistically need a smartphone. I'm going to spend my money wisely with what's the best performance per dollar and got the features I need, regardless of companies, because they're all dirty in their own way. This is entertainment. This is something you don't have to worry about. You know, if I go without playing Overwatch 2 for a year, I could lose money, or something physically happen wrong to me. No, there's nothing that's going to happen. So I think that's a much easier place to take a stand and say no to that industry, saying this is not how we're going to do it. It may affect artists, writers, developers, coders, all that kind of stuff, unfortunately. But what will be much worse for them is kind of the approach of what's happened so far. Slow. You know, people like, this is stupid. And not following up with it that much. Still, there's quite a few people that play WoW. There's still people buying new games, you know, new Overwatch codes, just random stuff from Blizzard, merch especially. There's still people giving them money, and instead of just making it a harder boycott that says no, drain them of their money in a month or two, and then they have, you know, all hands on deck, code red, we've got to figure something out now. It might even go to a company buyout, which at that point, Microsoft's in the middle of, just get rid of Bobby Kotick. Get rid of a lot of the board members that have made these decisions and kept him in. Force these people out at the top first, and it's going to shake up some writers and coders and all these developers.
No, that's not going to happen. They're never going to start at the top. Companies...
Correct, not at first, but when they have no choice because of the reason of the boycott or whatever, if they have no money, cash flow coming in, they're going to have to make changes. And if they know what the changes are, why we want the changes, they're either going to go under, the company will no longer exist, or they're going to have to make those changes.
I feel like they're not going to make the changes. I feel like they would much rather go bankrupt, try and figure a way around it, and then get back up on their feet some other way. Because everyone knows, especially people who are of working age, that things start at the bottom. Even though you have all these problems, you know exactly where they're coming from. You can name the 1, 2, 3 people that are the issue. It's always going to start at the bottom, and they're going to get rid of those people first because you can bring more people in for cheaper and mold them to what you want and what you believe, rather than trying to change those people and get rid of one of the head honchos that made them so much money. So it's hard to say how this is going to go for Blizzard for the sake of the workers and the sake of the people that have created this world and have done all the artwork and all this hard stuff that's at the very bottom. I wish you the best of luck. I hope that this goes well enough for you all that you can think about moving somewhere else if you want to, or if it's where you want to be.
Stay at Blizzard, hopefully, because the hope is that stuff will change. But this is not a call for any workers or anybody at Blizzard to just immediately abandon ship. Even if it's an opportunity, if you could go to 343 Industries, or something came up, if you're making 75 a year here and then you'd be making 60 at 343 and it's worse benefits, and there's no reason to do that, don't do it. This is unfortunately I just wouldn't say unfortunately, it's true, your life and your living expenses, your day-to-day activities are more important than what's going on at top here. That's why I can say what I want to do with my money because it's entertainment. It's not truly affecting my life. But you have to make that decision to say, I need to do what's financially secure for me, because I don't need to be putting my, what I think ahead because I want to go to a different company, because they're going to have their issues too. There's not a single company out here, maybe a few small businesses, very small businesses, but there's not a company that does not have dirt on them and that is perfect in any way. So you're going to have your issues no matter where you go, but just make decisions for what makes sense for you.
We've gone on a tangent for people that are probably never going to hear this.
No, but I really want to support, because I would hate to be at a company and everybody says, oh, it's terrible, they should leave, just get no jobs or whatever. Honestly, do what's best for you. I don't know if many people have said that, because it's your life that you're dealing with. You need to make the decisions best for you. So,
what was the guy's name? Papa
Jeff.
Papa Jeff.
Yeah.
Papa Jeff, if you're out there. Papa Cap. If you're out there, we love and miss you.
Yes, we do.
We're glad that you took a stand to leave, but we miss you.
We still have watched the I don't know if you did more than 1 year. I think you did, but
it did. But the first one,
the where you sit in front of the fire on Christmas and just sat there and then maybe opened a package and chatted for a second and then sat in quiet. It was 30 minutes.
I think at one point he actually read a book, a Christmas story or something like that. Yeah.
That's the Blizzard we love. This quirky, weird little fun company that made great stories. The graphics were never the important part of the games, but
they
was
were
the story.
Great.
Yeah, at the time. Nowadays they haven't aged as well, but
you can't sit there and tell me that whenever the expansion pack for Diablo 3 came out, the Reaper of Souls, that trailer was not bad.
That's a trailer. That's
well, yeah, but
they make the best trailers out there. Honestly, as far as the looks go, that's probably the best I've ever seen. But anyways, the Blizzard was a great company. We loved some of the people that worked there. Hopefully they come back.
Hopefully so. But hopefully all the rest of it goes away before that happens. But I don't know. I hope that Overwatch 2 goes. Like, we wanted to just put out a nice little episode for this because it was, at one point, one of the biggest games out there. I mean, we haven't even touched on it, but it started of course, League of Legends is League of Legends, you know? Like, you've got...
Well, they had the advantage for being free to play. As far as a paid game goes, they were one of the biggest in the world.
But I'm talking the Overwatch League. So... yes, you have League of Legends and you have like the sold out crowds at those like football arenas, or, you know, the arenas themselves in general, like they are sold out. They have all sorts of like people. Imagine Dragons doing all their stuff, and now they have like the Arcane show and everything. But like Overwatch League was the first one that really took a professional like looking stage to them. They had the teams that were real big. They had it on ESPN. You could actually go to a restaurant and put that on the TV and watch it and get merch for your favorite teams and stuff like that. It wasn't like, for League of Legends, I don't play it anymore. I don't really pay much attention to it as much as like the players anymore. But from what I've always noticed is it's not really so much the team, except for like, you know, Cloud9 or whatever it is.
Won all kinds of
yeah, but it's mostly like they pick a person on that team, and they're like, oh, you know, like Faker is like super big, super awesome. He plays
like
really
the
well.
MVP. I mean, it's just like baseball or any other games. Like LeBron James is always going to be one of the biggest names on his team or anything.
Right. Like, but I mean, like for Overwatch League, it just seemed like it was like, you know, you were a huge fan of these people, like the Shanghai Dragons. They were the ones that never won a game, and you wanted them so bad to win a game.
We rooted for them the whole time.
Like, I was so excited to finally watch one of those on TV in my like living room, being like, I'm watching sports that's a video game sports.
The biggest difference was every other game up to this point was created for the game's sake, and then it got big.
Yeah.
Blizzard tried to create Overwatch as a MLG shooter game that they planned on having already before it, you know, even finished making the game. They planned on making this a big esports game that would be successful and have its own channels and sponsors and events and tournaments, coverage, all that stuff. It was all planned, and that was great. I just think that other stuff happened with Overwatch and this didn't work out, but they planned it small first, because I mean, if you saw the small little stadium, or the groups, there was sometimes only like a few hundred people.
Yeah, it was very small at the very beginning.
Yeah, very small, a few hundred people in some of the tournaments, but you know, they were televised tournaments, but only a few hundred people there. But it was built from the ground up to be, you know, esports ready. I think esports kind of has hurt some game industries already, but I mean, honestly, it's whatever works and whatever the public goes for is going to be what, you know, succeeds in video games. But I did enjoy watching Overwatch League.
It was very fun to actually sit there and watch it, and the way that they did it was an actual, like, I do watch baseball. I'm a baseball fan, like New York Mets, woo. So I am used to watching sports in my family. My dad's a huge baseball fan as well. So to see Overwatch League, like the transitions when they're talking to the announcers and all that stuff, it looked like a professional major league show. So I was very ecstatic that we were taking it to the next level on that, because it showed that, you know, gamers in general are finally getting a place to where we are the norm. We're not just like these little nerdy people that sit in the back corner and have a LAN party and, you know, play DDR all day. But like,
nobody does that anymore.
Everybody does it. You don't know it. We're out there.
You are out there.
I am out there. So that's our take on Overwatch. Like I said, we felt like, since it was such a big game at one point, and it has had a lot of limelight here recently for the wrong reasons, we felt like it should have its own little episode to announce that there is going to be Overwatch 2, our take on it, what we expect to happen, what we hope to happen. So I'd say it's going to be a big release no matter what you do. Like you said earlier, there are going to be people that are going to buy it no matter what, or play it no matter what. And it's still going to be, in a way, successful. Is it going to be Blizzard successful? Probably not.
The whole difference about how successful this game will be is longevity. How quickly players drop off, and then how low the bar goes. Because every game has ever released has that huge spike and then drop off within the first week to month, depending on the game. And then after that drop off, when it starts to plateau and slow down, that's what will determine Blizzard's success. So that's what we'll find out.
We'll see how many people in a couple of months are still playing it.
October 2nd is when Overwatch 1 will go away. So I'm going to play a little bit before then because I'm not going to be playing Overwatch 2 for a little while. But Overwatch 1, it's been a good run. I'm very sad they're killing it. They should have just left 2 games. It doesn't take much to support a launcher and a few game modes that'll be the same in Overwatch 2. But Overwatch 4 will launch on October 4th. So we have a 2-day gap between games before they actually launch.
Which honestly I think is smart. Try and get all the bugs out, get it ready to go so that like the second one can launch hopefully without a hitch. It's Blizzard. There will probably be a hitch on that. All the World of Warcraft ones, there's always been hitches.
Like, I don't think you understand. There's going to be a lot of bugs and things that have to be worked out. 2 days isn't enough for that, like, 3 unpaid interns to fix.
Oh, I know. Like, again, World of Warcraft, every time, like, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, all of that stuff, when it came out, you not only saw, like, a massive group of people at, like, the portal to go into the next area, but, like, if you jumped into the portal, you may not make it to the next end because there were so many glitches and problems, and so you would be crashing constantly, or you would have to go back into the queue, which would be like hundreds deep. So
tens of thousands. Sometimes it'd be hours long.
Yeah.
For the release night.
For the older or the newer ones, yes, there were more and more people played, but like for Burning Crusade, it was kind of
Lich King was. There's a lot of people in Lich King.
But hopefully, like, fingers crossed, I've played a little bit of Overwatch 2. I see, like, how the 5 people group, they've changed a little bit of the settings on your screen. I've played a lot of Overwatch, as we've stated on here, and it felt very weird. I could not focus on the fights because of the way that they had changed it, but I only got to play it for, like, 2 or 3 days. Thanks, Blizzard, you canceled my beta for no reason. But fingers crossed it'll be good. If we can get Blizzard to be a better company and get rid of the people and the things that are bad about it and go back to old Blizzard where they put in those Easter eggs everywhere and do all the fun stuff, then I will 100% back Overwatch 2 and play it like I played Overwatch 1. But until then, Blizzard, suck it up. Do what you gotta do. Get rid of the toxic people.
You know, I know the main reason why they haven't gotten rid of Bobby Kotick is because his golden parachute that he has, severance plan, almost $300 million that he'd be paid if he does get fired, laid off, or kind of technically if he just wants to leave.
Yeah.
But at this point, I feel that he has done more than $300 million worth of damage to that company. For how few people played Overwatch anymore, and that helped drive him to the ground. There was a drop-off in World of Warcraft subscriptions.
A major dip when this first happened. They lost, like, over half of their people.
And, well, that was an interesting article. It wasn't right after it happened. Since the beginning of that year to that point, they had lost half. But it was always a dry time. But still, point is, they lost money because of how it was handled.
And then Final Fantasy popped up.
Yes, that took its place. There are plenty of people, good people, that could be a CEO for a company that would take Blizzard farther. Just being an honest company would have gotten farther than what they've got right now.
Jeff Kaplan.
And even though he did make some money with loot boxes and bringing in Activision and all these other companies, doesn't matter. I think that this reputation is going to, if it's not fixed, will kill Blizzard. And we won't have any more Blizzard.
Yeah. Which is very sad to say, because World of Warcraft was my number one thing back when I was a kid, when it first started. So fingers crossed that this either gets changed or something. But I was really looking forward to Overwatch 2. I will still keep track of the new characters and all that stuff because I love the characters of that game. But here's to Overwatch 2 on October 4th. We'll see what happens. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.